Hello. So we're going to have a look at lesson 8 of B13 of how is sex determined. So obviously please make sure your phones are off. You've not got the TV on or any music playing games in the background, and you've got your book with you ready to answer the questions, or you can do it on the class notebook as well. So some new information for us. So many of our characteristics are controlled by a gene. Or several genes interacting together. For example, our hair colour, eye colour, blood group, various other things as well. In animals, different things, different characteristics are controlled by genes as well that are passed on and inherited. And we know that a gene is a part of a chromosome. And the genes code for proteins, which are made through protein synthesis at the ribosomes. But our sex, so whether we are male or female, is not just determined by one gene, it is determined by an entire chromosome, or entire pair of chromosomes. So it's an entire chromosome pair. So not just one, I'm talking about two chromosomes together here. So 22 of our chromosomes are pretty much identical in shape. They'll all be slightly different, they'll be slightly longer and shorter than each other, but generally they are all pretty similar, especially with their matching pair. So chromosome 1, both chromosome 1s will be pretty much identical, other than the genes that they have on them, but the length of them will be the same. The position of those genes will be the same, or the alleles will be the same. Chromosome 2, again the same, all the way up to the chromosomes 22, which are all similar. However, when we get to the 23rd pair of chromosomes, these are the sex chromosomes, and these determine whether someone is going to be male or female. So we have two genotypes or two different genotypes. So females have an XX genotype. So these are the genes that they have. Phenotype, obviously, for them is female. So they will have female characteristics. And males have an XY genotype. Well, that bit there, that XY genotype, their phenotype is male. They have the male characteristics. Now I know, as you are all incredibly bright, some of you probably read and gone, well, actually, people can have triple X, or they can have XYY, XXY. Yes, there are various variations of these. This is not, everyone is either XX or XY. There are different ones as well. People can have a combination of them. But for the majority of the population, and for what we need to study and understand this genetics part of it, it is just XX and XY. So someone is either has an XX genotype and the phenotype is female, or they have an XY genotype and the phenotype is male. And that is what it is for the majority of the population. Also, I know there are exceptions, but we're not going to discuss that. We're just looking at this as a new topic. We're not going to go into all the weird and wonderful things that are out there. There's loads out there to discuss in genetics. I really would advise it as a career or something to look into. It's fascinating, all the stuff that is going on. And loads of things. I'm sure you can come back in 10 years' time and tell me, oh, Mr. Lewis, you're completely wrong. It's not 95%. It's 93.6% of people have this people have this, and so forth. I would love for that to happen. But we need to get you that basic understanding of it all first, which is why we're doing it like this. So females are XX genotype, males are XY genotype. So we're going to have a little look at probability and what offspring we could have. So during meiosis, which is how the gametes are formed, the chromosomes divide in half. Because one pair goes with the other one. What splits up, and we end up getting 4 gametes at the end. From one original cell. Obviously, however, for males, we get many millions of gametes forming. But if we were to look at them, half of them would carry the X chromosome, and the other half would carry the Y chromosome, purely because of how they have split. Obviously, I know there'll be some cases where they won't split properly, and something will have an X and a Y, which is how we get the XXY people and stuff. But generally, we're going with, okay, half will have X and half will have Y. All of them in the millions, we would find that, excluding a few that hadn't divided properly, we would have half being X and half being Y, because it has split. It's just like we did with the Punnett squares, or genetic cross diagrams, in the previous lesson, where we looked at splitting up those alleles. This, again, is what's happening. We're just split up an entire chromosome this time. We're looking at the chromosomes as opposed to just a particular allele or gene. Now, all of the female gametes will carry the X chromosome. And that's because females have the genotype XX. When they split, they're still going to be XX. We're not going to get an X and a Y. We can't get that from in a female gamete. They only have the X chromosome. So we're going to have a look at how then we work out the probability of having children, or what gender children you have. So we draw out our Punnett squares again. We can still use our Punnett squares, even though it's now for an entire chromosome, not for a gene, because the theory is the same. So we'll do females on top. So we have an X and an X. We've split them up. These are just two of our gametes, but showing our ratio of them. And for our males, we have X and a Y. We then fill in our box. So we bring the X down from the top and an X across, and we get X, X. And we do the same on this one, X. Oh, going from there, it's going over to there, and X. Our ones at the bottom here, we have an X from the top and a Y from the side. And again here, we have an X from the top and a Y from the side. Now, we can see here that we go, right, we have a 50% chance of the offspring being female. And we have a 50% chance of the offspring being male. Meaning that effectively for half of one's children or offspring, half of them would be female and half of them would be male. Now, I can hear you saying, hang on, that's not quite right because I'm one of 4 children and we're all girls. So clearly that doesn't work. And you're almost right. We only see this ratio actually playing out when we look at large numbers of the population. If we look at individual families and look at people's children and go, okay, well, they've had 2 girls. Well, that's not right. They should have had a girl and then the next one should have been a boy. That's not the case. It is because each time this bit happens, so this bit that's all happening here, this is our fertilization. So each time we do this, we get a whole new set again. So it's a 50% chance each time. Just like if you were to flip a coin, if you've got a coin with you now, flip the coin and you go, I've got heads. Great. I had a 50-50 chance of getting heads. If I flip it again, therefore I must get tails. Well, no, you know that that doesn't happen. You've still got a 50% chance of getting tails. Got the coin, flip it again. I can guarantee you some of you will get heads again, some of you will get tails again. Well, if you got tails the first time, you will get the same one. Some of you will get opposite ones. You'll get heads and tails, or tails and heads, or heads and heads, tails and tails. You've got a 50% chance of it happening. So 50% chance each time. So some people do sort of go, oh, well, hang on, you know, what's going on with all of this? Someone's got 5 children already, they're all girls. The next one, well, it must be a boy. And they might say that because actually they go, yeah, well, we'd expect, based on probability, that to happen. We'd expect them to have a boy next. But it doesn't always happen because it's a 50% chance with each pregnancy, with each offspring, that they will be male or female. Now, once we scale it up to the entire population, or take in large numbers, we do see that happening. We do see that generally 50% of the population is male and 50% of the population is female. We're pretty split pretty much equally along those lines. If we looked at it in just a local area, the entire country, the entire world, we would see we get about that. Right. That is your information for this. Do have a go at answering the questions in your booklet. Again, I'll put the link on the class OneNote. I'll put the questions on there so I can mark them. I think I will, yeah, I might even send out the answers to you all as well on Show My Homework so you can self-mark them yourselves if you want to. Otherwise, do have a great day. Take care, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.